Hey, it's About Town Deb. I'm so excited for the show. We want you to stay tuned because I have Lucas and I have DW here from Kid Rocker, correct?
Correct.
We wouldn't mind Kid Rock showing up if he wants
come
to.
on down.
Hashtag Kid Rock. But no, we're going to have a fun show, and there's a holiday Christmas party coming up December 4th. So hang tight. We'll be right back.
In Nevada near the silver mines, there's a kind-hearted woman. She's looking so fine, always taking care of her community, bringing folks together is her cup of tea. She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
Welcome to this episode. I am so excited today. We are going to be talking about Kid Rocker, and we have the founder, Lucas Paul, here.
Yeah.
And you need more than a founder. You need instructors, and we need massive guitar players who rock it out. And that is D.W. Albrecht.
Albrecht.
Albrecht. So you look so dashing.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, what the heck? He walked out. I'm like, there's a real rock. Well, you got the rock star looks.
Yeah.
You got the Kid Rock stuff logo on there. So I'm really excited today. We were blessed to be on Colo News last week, and it was so touching, and it was such a good story, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But I'm just so grateful that I get to have you back on set, and that we get to talk about your amazing holiday party coming up December 4th, right here at the Musician Rehearsal Center in Sparks. And I want to thank our sponsors. So Basin, Cellars, Surratt Law Practice, and of course, we love Wild River Grille, but without Christian with Angel Fenix Media right here at the Musicians Rehearsal Center in Sparks, we wouldn't be able to have the show. So I'm grateful for that. And the theme song, Dee Dee James, and Caliber keeps the hair blonde, hide the gray. So now we've got that done. We usually say a little bit about, in the first segment, like the highlights of our week. Colo News was one of my highlights. So tell me, Lucas, what it felt like to be on set with Katie at the Morning Crew, and who joined us, and what was that like?
It was a wonderful morning. It was all worth it because Ian came, our amazing guitar student, Ian Lee. He really brought the enthusiasm to the interview. But it was so great to just talk to Katie about Kid Rocker and what we're doing in the community, trying to make music education accessible to all kids.
Yeah, but so give a little more shout out to Ian Lee. I mean,
Ian, if you're watching, we love you.
Because he actually said that. So we were on set, and he's watching the cameras, and we were able to show really cool photos from your other event of the actual students. And he was pointing their names, and he goes, if you're watching, I love you. Like, who does that? Ian does that, and he's a pro. He's incredible, and he really is a special little dude. 10 years old, and his heart shines brighter than the universe. I have to tell you. So, and I feel like his energy and his spirit. And we asked him about music and why he loves Kid Rocker, and he's like, "It's my passion. It gives me passion." So music is passion, and it does good things. So anyway,
I get to experience it every week. He's super inspiring. But he sings me songs every week.
He sings you songs every week? Oh, and he does write his songs. They're really cool. He's got some cool songs. So I'm going to do our quote early this week because it fits in perfect for what we're going to be talking about. Music can change the world because it can change people. Bono. And I want to ask you guys, how has music changed both of you? Let's just start with that. Lucas, you go first. How has music changed you?
Music has given me one of those really necessary great outlets in life. Whenever I'm stressed, whenever I'm overwhelmed, music can help bring me
Calm
back.
the soul.
Yeah, and just kind of realign myself, engage and make it happen. But there's so much great music out there that is inspiring. I'm as a young person getting introduced to reggae and how positive all of that is, and how it's all based around love and accepting each other. And even punk rock, just like having those communities and and also just being a free thinker and thinking for ourselves and not getting caught up in the crowd.
I love that part.
Following our heart.
Oh, together we're one heart. That is like you're talking my language. So what about you, DW?
Oh boy. Well, I think as a guitar player, it's given me something that I can really focus all my attention to in sort of it's kind of like an ongoing exploration. Like there's a great quote from Les Paul that says, if you learn guitar, you have a pal for life.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That is correct. So my son, Josh, he picked up the guitar and he went on YouTube and he just started fiddling and playing. And then he got the fiddle and he, when he needs that space, he picks it up and he's self-taught and it's given him like this outlet to just breathe and take in the moments and experience what that does to your soul. So I totally understand that. It's pretty cool. What was your first instrument? Both of you.
Trumpet.
Ooh, what was yours?
Violin, actually.
I think mine very first one was one of those little things you do this.
Oh, the recorder?
The recorder was first. And then I think I played the one that does this, the little buttons, the little like, I don't know what's it called. Well, I don't know. Everybody played this certain song. Was it Three Blind Mice? I don't know. There was some song.
Hot Cross Buns.
There was a song you learned on that. And then I played the accordion.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And I was like rock star. And then I started dating and said, I don't want to be like boring at 16 playing the accordion. I went and like sold it for a bike, 10-speed. My parents were not happy that I sold this fancy accordion. I traded it.
Right. I'm sure the
for a
accordion was
10-speed.
worth more.
It was worth a lot. So anyway, but we all have those memories of being in school and playing an instrument and learning and being a part of a group.
Yeah.
And that's what Kid Rocker is doing. You're bringing these children together and they're learning the instrument and they're learning to look at him, like writes his songs already and he's 10. So it's pretty cool that you guys are going to do that. So we're going to
let them learn songs they like.
Oh, which you should. Yes, he like writes his own songs and it makes sense and he just does it. So it's really cool. We're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the history and how you guys got started. It's About Town Deb with City Talk. Right back.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to City Talk. About Town Deb, Debbie McCarthy. I've never done a spin before on set. I think I need to have these guys more often because they're like getting me out of my box. And music does get you out and it gets your soul feeling good. But we're really here to talk about Kid Rocker and Lucas Paul, the founder. I really want to know your story. What made you passionate about creating this? And then we're also going to talk to DW as being a teacher and helping these students and helping to mold them, why you got involved in it. But let's start with Lucas Paul first.
All right. So I have a degree in psychology and I worked with at-risk youth and in different organizations doing PSR work and all kinds of stuff.
Wait, PSR?
Psychosocial rehabilitation.
Okay.
Big words. Simpler job.
Okay. I didn't know that. So you're a big deal. Like you just don't play the guitar and play music. You actually
went to school.
No, but you're able to take that knowledge and help people.
Yes.
So there you go.
And so what I started to feel like I was running into was the system was kind of getting in the way of us helping these kids or supporting them in the way that I felt like we needed to. And so it started to kind of like make me, have a bad taste in my mouth about everything that was going on. And so at some point I kind of stepped away from that world and I worked just kind of a dead end job. And about the same time.
Wait, what was the dead end job? You're real, like we keep it real here.
Okay.
Unless it was like,
I worked in repairs for Patagonia for a bit. Dead end job.
Okay, but it served a purpose.
It did. I sat at a sewing machine. It was a very hard job.
If you're listening, you're listening, it's a job.
There's some magicians over there that know how to sew things back together that are just incredible.
Well, that's a good thing. Okay.
But I learned a lot while I was there. And as I was working different of these like kind of non-career jobs, I guess I'll call them, not dead end, but
not dead end.
I started teaching guitar on the side. And what I noticed was all my students would barely practice, and it was really getting old.
Yeah,
and I didn't like to practice. I have a degree in psychology. I should be able to figure this out.
Okay.
And so I really just started to think a lot more about motivation and how I could motivate them to care more or to engage more. And so I one day thought, what if we put them on stage and have them play with the live band?
That's a big deal.
Do it. And so at the time I was in a band with some friends and I said, hey guys, I have this idea. Will you help me? And they're all like, yes. So big shout out to the Cowboy Indian boys. You guys were great. And back in 2017, we had our first concert and I immediately knew it was going to work. Wow. Even my band members were like, holy cow. This is amazing. What just happened. This is amazing. Yeah, they were all inspired, and it was so much fun. We even played Folsom Prison Blues as the last song. And we didn't tell the parents we were going to do this, but we brought all the kids back up on stage at the end and we played Folsom Prison, and my old bass player sings just like Johnny Cash. And so we start playing it and he starts singing, and I swear all the parents start moshing and going crazy. Like they're going to destroy the bar.
Oh my goodness.
And they were so excited. And I was like, wow, this is really powerful. And just to hear the parents talk to me afterwards, like how
did you do that?
Well, and just watching their own children, they said, like, I don't even know this person anymore. Like after, we thought he would never get up on stage and be afraid. And then they just they're just super attracted to it. Like they're like all of us. They're afraid at first. We're all nervous.
Yeah, hello.
But then once we get through it, we go, wow, I could do that again. That was nice.
Yeah. So when you first so 2017.
Yes.
Right. So how did you go about finding the kids, picking the kids? You said you were teaching. Were you teaching at a school?
I was teaching at a school at the time.
Okay, there you go.
And so I just had like maybe 10 or 12 students at the time.
In the school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I wanted to also at some point I had all these goals in mind as we started to move forward with it. And I thought, maybe I should turn this into a nonprofit. And so by 2019, I had turned it into a nonprofit. And we survived COVID in very spectacular ways. We had kids doing virtual open mics where they would video themselves performing songs, and we would put together shows. And it was super cool because it gave them something to engage in.
I agree, especially when they're home and they're not engaged and they're feeling isolated.
Yes. And I noticed too, a lot of my students, I was the only other adult or human they saw during COVID. And although we were online, they were just like, oh my gosh, my parents don't let me leave the house. I can't do anything. But I was another connection out in the outside world.
And they could play music.
And they had their guitars or their instruments. Yeah.
So it's actually something like they're learning, they're physically touching it, they're engaging. They're not just watching somebody tell them, they're actually playing.
Yes.
And that's really important. I mean, we can all read about it, but to actually physically do it as you're learning, it gives you that confidence and you feel like, wow, look what I just accomplished. It's a huge deal.
Yes.
I totally remember as a kid, once I, got on stage and we played our first little recital, it was like, wow, I didn't think I could do it. And it was incredible. So,
well, on top of that, with that whole helping them gain that confidence, the first rule of Kid Rocker is we can't teach you anything. We can only show you. And I tell all my students, look, I'm here to show you how to play. I can already play because I practiced. If you don't go home and work this out in your bedroom and study this or practice it, we'll be repeating the same thing. So make sure you go home. Learning is up to you, kind of empowering them. And then when they come back on the other side and they can do it, I can then honestly say, you did this because you worked hard. I didn't do this for you, and that was super empowering to them. They were all like, wait, what? Because they'd want to say, oh, I'd be like, how'd you accomplish this? They'd be like, well, because you're my teacher. And I'd be like, no, I wasn't there. I showed you once.
You gave them the tools and you gave them the confidence.
Yes.
And then they went back home and they took those tools and they practiced for their own sake, but also, I know, to make you proud and make their parents proud, and to be able to get on that stage and perform with their friends.
Yes.
There's
some other motivators for sure, but they're doing it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go over to DW. So how did you guys connect, and how long have you been playing the guitar and teaching?
Well, I first met Lucas at one of those non-career jobs.
Okay.
We talked about at the old knitting factory.
Yeah,
okay.
We were both stagehands.
Well, that's important. Somebody's got to make that magic happen back there.
Yeah. And then later on, we met at some open mics. And it was like, we're both singer-songwriters. Yeah. And we became friends. And
he's one of my favorite songwriters in town.
Ooh,
thank you so much.
I'm liking the sound of this. So you guys connected, and then how did you get to the step from being on open mics and seeing each other to say, I want to be a part of this. I want to make a difference in these kids' lives.
Well, I think I had known about Kid Rocker when you started it.
Yes.
Because I believe I'd asked you a couple times, like, hey, can I get involved in that? And I don't think you had anything.
We had definitely talked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't till I think this last August or maybe July that I had one of those non-career jobs that ended. And doing guitar lessons is something I'd always wanted to do. So I thought, maybe I should give Lucas a call and see what's going on with him. And he's like, yeah, like we could really use an advanced guitar teacher right now.
Oh, had you taught before? Or this is just your passion, it is your passion.
Yeah, not formally. But in my mind, I was thinking I would wanted to teach adults and maybe like older kids who are kind of like trying to go to the next level. Yeah. So I didn't really like think of myself as teaching kids. So I was maybe a little bit nervous about that, whether or not I would be able to do it. But I've found that I've really enjoyed it, and it's been very, very fulfilling.
And the kids love them.
Yeah. Well, you got that cool look as a hip guy.
It's just a jacket.
It's just a jacket, but it works. You got some like chains going on there. Yeah. So, but that's great. So, how long have you been teaching with Kid Rocker?
I think just since this last August.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I jumped into the first.
He jumped right in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So is there like, of the children you've taught and the concerts you've been at with them, is there a moment that you went, wow, this is why I'm doing? Is there a student? Is there something where you went, I'm sure there's more than one, but is there one that stands out like, I am so honored to be here and I've helped a student like feel confident? Is there like something you could share? Because I know there's kids out there listening and it'll make them feel included if they know they're not the only one that has wanted to learn or had, a story.
Well, for me, I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into it when I really noticed that, they're actually improving.
They're practicing at home.
They're like, hopefully taking my tips, hopefully that they are contributing something to their development. And I've had several of those moments already, and they keep coming. And it's just kind of it's a cool thing. Like, I don't think of myself as a teacher, just more of a guide.
A mentor.
Yeah.
Yes. A mentor. We all need mentors. Like we always need a mentor. But I think our children that aren't able to get music in the schools, I had to have music, but I played that little thing. So it wasn't like I was learning a lot, but they stopped doing that in a lot of the schools. Yes. You don't have the arts and you don't have the music. And I really enjoyed having the music. I enjoyed going to art class and doing the oil paintings and the watercolors. And I felt like I had an outlet to express what I'm feeling. And that's what you guys are giving the outlet. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to dig a little deeper. I do want to hear a few more stories. There's got to be some stories out there. So it's About Time Dead with City Talk. We'll be right back.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
You know that's what she said. Come on, let's have some fun with About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I'm About Town Deb McCarthy, your host, and I have Lucas Paul here, who's co-hosting, and we have DW. And I just told them they could get rocky, they could get crazy, they can break out in song, they could do whatever they want, because music lets you free your heart and free your soul. So I really want to express out there that we are going to keep it real here today. And I want to know why. Why do you connect the classroom to the stage? That's your whole mission.
Thank you for asking that.
That's your mission.
We always say we connect the classroom and the stage. And the reason we do it is because you have to learn to play your instrument and you have to learn to play music. And so it's a twofold learning platform. There is a famous bass player, Victor Wooten. He wrote a book called The Music Lesson. He's written a second part to it as well. But in the first edition of The Music Lesson, he talks about being the youngest of like 4 brothers.
Wow.
And he was pretty much told he was going to play bass. But at family jam time, Victor said his Mickey Mouse guitar was on his stool. And so he jokingly says his whole life that he learned to play music before he learned to play his instrument because of that family jam time where he would rock out with his brothers.
Oh, with the air guitar?
With his Mickey Mouse guitar.
Okay.
So essentially he's just feeling out the moves and listening to the other players and starting to connect the dots, because there's a lot that's going on when you play with a group compared to when you're by yourself.
True.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, of course. I mean, I got a really good air guitar. I can play that with the best of them.
I mean, watching those kids get up on stage and just open their heart and give it their all, it's the best.
And also with Kid Rocker, you are inclusive. You know, no matter what the situation, you are there to say you matter. You're important.
And that you can achieve this.
Yes. So was that part of the mission of what you are doing? For sure. I've always been kind of the underdog, like, cheerer. And I'm the underdog
I go for
too.
the underdog, and I've always felt kind of like the underdog growing up. And so I never let people tell me I couldn't do anything. And I want to help all youth believe in themselves in the same way. Like, let yourself tell you no. Don't let someone else tell you.
Ooh, I like that.
And,
I love that concept.
And a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm not musical, but I want my kids to be have music. And I'm like, well, that's, I think, something that society told us, because I've watched babies dance to music untaught. So music has to be innate, because these babies know where the downbeat and the upbeat are. They're dancing, and you're like, holy cow, that's incredible.
And they do. Like
you
see like on YouTube and all these TikToks and Instagram ones, you see these kids and they're bouncing. They're like in their little diapers.
Yeah.
And they already feel the beat. But I think that you guys are giving them the opportunity to experience it, but then go forward with it. Not just say, hey, I got the beat, but people are telling me I can't.
Yes.
And when you tell, like you said, it doesn't matter how old you are. People will always tell you, even at my age, people say, you can't do that. And you're like, well, I thought I could, but okay. But then if you surround yourself, like, so you guys are surrounding these children with your heart and your soul and your compassion and your energy to say, you can do this.
Yes.
We can do this. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. So it's just pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that feeling when you were a child, like, I'm going to play the guitar, or did you always have support?
I did. I think I was, like, obviously my folks bought me a guitar when I was about 15, and my dad had an old electric guitar. He played when he was a teenager.
Okay.
So that was all really wonderful. But I have memories too of shredding air guitar.
We all do.
Journey any way you want it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Which, for whatever reason, that was, as a kid, I was like, I really like this song.
See, but you remember that to this day.
Oh yeah, I have very, very clear memories of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I think that genius is everywhere. And I think, genius is just being human. And I think that we all have valuable things to unfold and express in the world. And, you know, like I said, I kind of just think of myself as a guide, and I'm not doing that much work. I'm just kind of like showing like, hey, yeah, you just kind of got to do this. You kind of got to get that in the right spot. And then
they do it.
Yeah, I can figure it out.
I like that. But you want to continue this. So you have scholarships.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that. You're not just, you're making this your passion to continue, not just stay in one spot.
Yeah. So we wanted to reach those kids who can't reach these type of opportunities on their own. So we started a scholarship program. We raise money grassroots. So anybody out there that wants to sponsor a kid for a year of music instruction, we put a professional level instrument in their hand.
Wow.
We give them that support throughout the year. They get the weekly lessons, they get the concert events, and it really, really changes them. I wish everyone could see it happen and for themselves. It's hard to show everybody unless you have your own child going through it. But it's unbelievable what 6 months to a year can change in a young person as they learn to master this musical instrument, because we're giving them real skills.
No, I get that. And
we're giving them the skill to entertain themselves or whoever else is around as well.
And not just be on their phone.
Yeah. Well,
that helps too.
Yeah. Well, playing a musical instrument gets kids off the internet, gets kids off social media.
And that is really good.
It gives them that break.
No, I totally love that. I was doing some little research, as you know, I like to do. I looked up something where it said, what are the 10 benefits of music?
Yeah.
And it's saying it's heart healthy.
Okay.
It elevates moods.
Okay.
It reduces stress. It relieves symptoms of depression. That I do know for sure. It stimulates memories, which that is true. When you hear a song, it takes you right back there. It manages pain. Now that's interesting. And it eases pain. That I can totally see. That eases pain. And it helps people eat less.
No
What's
way.
up with that? Like I'm like, where did that come from? I better play.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
Sure.
But it also and so this is all from the team from Spiritual Care and Support at North Shore, highlights some of the benefits. So
cool.
These aren't mine, it's from them. But, and it always said, what does music do to a child's brain? So you were kind of talking about that. It says music ignites all areas of the child development skills for school readiness, particularly in the areas of language acquisition and reading skills. In learning to play a musical instrument can improve mathematical learning and even increases school scores. So what do you, because you are a teacher, what do you see with?
Well, one of the cool things about the advances of neuroscience in the last 20 years, 10 years is that we can now brain image map, and we can see what's going on in the brain. Wow. And so what they found is that actually playing a musical instrument is the equivalent of a full body workout for your brain.
Whoa.
And it affects the corpus callosum in a unique way. And the corpus callosum is that part of the brain that connects the left and right hemisphere. And so it's strengthening all these brain aspects, helping kids to solve and deal with more complex problems. It's helping them emotionally. There's so many benefits that we're learning about from neuroscience. And even MIT in 2020 released an article that said, if you want your kids to learn coding, teach them to play a musical instrument.
Oh, I did. That was on one of my notes too. That's pretty crazy.
Very intriguing.
I mean, the whole coding thing, I'm new at all that because we didn't do that when I was growing up. Don't even really, I mean, coding has to do with computers, right? I don't know, your phones, I don't know. But it's a big deal nowadays.
It is a
to
very
be a
big
coder
deal.
is a big deal. So starting them out with the music is actually a good start.
So, yeah, and I always say, most of the time when I talk to people and I'm like, music really helps kids' brains. And they're always like, oh, yeah, of course. But I really want people to really think about this, because if this is true,
okay,
why are we not having every child play an instrument?
I agree.
If it's going to make them smarter and more able to solve complex problems, we need that in our future leaders. We need that well, every kid needs that.
No, we all need that.
And we all need that.
No, but definitely for these children, especially like you said, we all are guilty of it. I do a lot of, we're looking down at our phones. Think if you're playing, you're singing out, and you're giving your heart and your music and your soul to your family as you're practicing. You're, going to school concerts. You're doing like way back, we talked about garage bands. I mean, it's an outlet. Now you practice together. You learn the teamwork. You learn that you do this, I do this, and we all accomplish this beautiful concert. It's a team. And nowadays, when you're just on your phone or playing a game, you're playing against usually a program. I mean, you're not.
And playing live music with other people, it's the only time I feel like where you really have to shut up and listen. So you're not walking all over their part. Everybody's in their own space in the band. And if you're doing your job, the music is going to sound amazing. And so it's a really listening and understanding where you should be and holding that up.
And it's also paying attention and focusing because you have the music and everybody has their part. So I remember doing that with the accordion and having to read both hands and knowing when it was my turn to step back and then my turn to come back in. Like you said, we all need to learn to get along. So this is really a good, it's a good lesson. So I'm going to go back to DW. When was when you played, you learned, did you have an experience where you felt like I'm part of a team now? At what age, cause we're all, kids are thriving to belong, they're not feeling like they belong. But if you're in a band or you're in a classroom, you belong as a team. Do you remember feeling that as a child?
Yeah, I think when it relates to this kind of work, when I did join my first band, that was in my early 20s, but that's just a very formative experience.
So last week?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I thought you were 24, 23. Week, are you over 22?
Yeah.
Dang. So music is good for your, longevity.
Yeah.
He's like Benjamin Button.
Yeah. There we go.
No, that's really cool. No, but I want the kids and their parents that are listening to know that this is something that's going to be really good for them.
Music does keep you young. A lot of people say it's the fountain of youth. And I will say I've met some older musicians in my life. And what's very intriguing is I look in their eyes and I see this young person inside their eyes. Even though their shell tells me something very different, there's this thing, and I can't explain it, but I really have to say it's because they play.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back for the final segment, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelfenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
Ready to help from her toes to her head. Just give her a shout. Call About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to our fourth and final segment. It goes by so fast. It goes by way too fast, but I still haven't heard any answers in song yet. I'm hoping that I'll get a little bit of a tune out of these guys because, they're experts. They can just, do something like that. But we want to make sure that parents out there listening, grandparents, aunts, uncles, children listening, whether you're watching us on Facebook, whether you're on Spotify or all the different platforms, we really want you to know that we are here for you. And it doesn't matter what challenges you might have. And I'm just going to be open about a challenge I have.
All right.
And I've had. So as a child, and music did help with that. I stuttered, and when I read a little bit, I did have a little bit of moments where I stopped and I'm like, oh my God, is it going to come back? But I could remember my friends would ask me to sing in the choir. And for some reason, when I sang, I didn't stutter. And when I played the accordion, I was focusing on the notes and being part of a group. So I wasn't thinking about, I was happy that I didn't have to talk. I mean, look at me now. You can't stop me. But I was definitely having challenges. I would go up and just pass out on the stage, literally pass out and put the smelling salt. So I've overcome a lot of challenges, and your music and what you are doing show an example of how no matter what the challenge is that a child is having, how you could help them.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say, speaking evolved from singing. So that's a very interesting connection there with your situation. And yes, we do help all kids, no matter their challenges, no matter their circumstances. I was born without a right hand. I play guitar and drums.
Look at that.
And which is it's a good teaching tool at times, because I can say, look guys, I can do this, so I know you can do this. But we have clients from all different walks of life. And, one of our buddies that we've talked about is Ian.
I love you, Ian.
Ian has a different life than us. He was born with Williams syndrome, and Williams syndrome kids or people are born with 7 less chromosomes than us. And so they have different developmental challenges. And but what's really unique about them is that they're very connected to music, every one of them. And I've seen this connection through Ian and through working with him. And he's becoming a guitar player.
Yeah.
And just like any kid who develops in those skills at their own rate, he is as well. And I've had kids with autism. I've had kids with multiplicity of circumstances. And we've been able to help all these kids move forward and earn or gain the skill to play their instrument just like anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful because music doesn't leave people out. It's really just bringing everyone in. I've even worked with some friends of mine who were music therapists, and I would go down and try to help figure out ways to get their clients to play an instrument. They'd be like, hey, Lucas, you've had to think outside the box, so come down here and check this out. And I'd go down, and we usually figure out a way to help that person play something. And then it empowers them, it frees them, it gives them that outlet that they need.
You know what else I think we were talking about that, like with Ian. I mean, I'm sorry, Ian, we just can't stop thinking about you. When he was doing the segment on Colo, and when I was outside, we were doing our little selfie or our little live video, he really was more concerned about his friends and wanting them to succeed. So I also feel like when they're on stage, they're surrounded by their fellow musicians.
Yes.
And I love the idea that you may have one who's less challenged, but he's cheering on Ian.
Yes.
And then you have Ian who's cheering on somebody else, and you're providing that. And we don't have enough of that today.
Yeah, there's great
Everybody's
connections
competing
with our
today. We want people to join and make it happen.
I wish sometimes maybe we could just video them in the green room, because how they kind of interact in the green room is different, because it's like their space and they know it. So they're like, oh, this is our special space. And then they kind of all are like, we're a team together. We're
totally going to make sure we get a clip of that.
Right? And they're back there and they're very, very complimentary towards each other. And they like to ask about what song they're playing. And we oftentimes get them up to play together and support each other, because that's very important.
No, I agree. I would much rather, you never see me up here by myself. You know that? I'm somebody that I need a partner. I need support, and I like to support other people. So for me, I would rather do a selfie with somebody with me than by myself.
Yeah. Well, that
they
also
never turn out
reminds
good by
me,
myself.
We have a family connections discount where families can learn to play and share a lesson for a discounted price. And we try to preach this to all families, like families that play together, stay together.
Yes, I agree.
And the world's really busy. So if you have that one thing you can connect on during the week or the month, you can at least say, hey, how's your song coming along? Because you're both working.
No, I love that idea.
Yeah.
So what's the easiest way for us to get in touch with you, to help our children, to help our families, to be connected?
The easiest way is contact us through our webpage,
Okay.
kidrocker.org, or call me.
Oh, you can, if you're put it out there.
775-354-6867. Just call me directly and we'll get you going. We'll answer any of your
So
questions.
can you sing that number?
775-354-6867.
There we go. Well, maybe DW can like share how do we find out more
Put some
about
reverb on
your.
that.
I don't have what's reverb. Is it like a thing like this? I don't know.
Auto-tune.
Auto-tune.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, because I feel like if you have a young child and they do need a mentor and they want to take lessons and they already can feel like they've met you, like what's a way that we can find out more about you?
Well, I have a YouTube channel that's YouTube/DW The Wild Beat.
Oh, wait. DW The Wild Beat. Can you do a beat?
That's the most.
His name's DW. He's
Yeah,
here to
that's
say-
like the most generic hip hop beat ever. I'm sorry.
Come on.
But
Okay. You guys
We're
have
more
you-
rock and roll.
yeah.
Okay,
you know.
can
Country.
you do a rock and roll beat, both of you together right now? Because we got like do some.
Can we?
Can we do like a beat so I can feel like I'm rocking out?
I will say this: if you go to DW's page, his YouTube page, you can also hear his record, which is really great.
Oh, what's the name song?
It's called Down Enough. Is
Down
the name
Enough?
of the record. It's also available on Spotify.
Ooh, I'm on Spotify.
Yeah.
Ooh, we can be spotting together.
And also on Instagram
Okay.
at DW The Wild Beat, all one word.
I love it. I will be following you now, and I will be learning from your skills and your skills. There's one other thing I want to mention. I have a friend who's wrote my theme song. He said something really interesting, and he says it all the time. He said, no matter what's happening in his career, in his life, music has never failed him.
Yeah,
Never failed him. Like,
it's definitely there for you.
it's there for you. It's part of your soul. It's free. You
Sure.
just pick up a guitar or just sing. I mean, I feel like we all need to feel like express whatever talent. I mean, I'm not a good singer, but if I'm standing next to somebody who sings really well, is that like a harmonizer? I can like harmonize in, but if you have me sing by myself, I forget it. I will clear a room. But there's something about supporting, because like I can feel your energy and I can feel your sound, and then my sound wants to join in.
Sure.
It's kind of like what music does. It brings us together.
Yes. Well, and that's another reason why we teach guitar, bass, drums, keys, ukulele, and we had a vocal teacher for a while. We're looking for a new one, but DW and I both sing and write music. And so like we have always encouraged our students to sing no matter what. And actually there's a really special story of one of our students, Colby, who I feel like he is David Byrne reincarnated. Ooh. And
I think David Byrne's still alive though.
Oh,
I don't even know who that is.
Reincarnated while the person's still alive?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know who that is.
Talking Heads.
Oh, of course.
Of course you know. And so, but what's really cool is Colby, when he first started taking guitar, he didn't feel like he was a singer. And I said, I know you don't feel like you're a singer, but you should sing. He sings at every concert now.
Oh, I love it.
And he just kills it. And he comes all outside of his shell. And I mean, how many kids can just do that without being like self-conscious?
No, I totally agree.
And
I
adults.
totally agree. So what's the age variation? Like how young? I mean, do you have 20-year-olds in it? Is it mostly under a certain? What's the age?
Well, we like to shoot for kindergarten to 12th grade, but we teach young kids. We always say if they can sit for 30 minutes, they're ready to learn.
Okay.
And then we also teach adults because we're all babies.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just thinking.
We're just babies, man.
Yeah.
We're just babies.
Maybe
we're
you
just
can, like,
babies, man.
teach me.
We're just babies.
Maybe you can just teach me.
Little Diggable Planets. Shout out.
Whatever you want to shout out to. So we're coming to the end. If you could give one word of advice for a parent or for a child, I'm going to start with you, DW. What would it be? Because we're getting to the end. I want to make sure your voice is heard.
I think always believe in yourself and take those actionable steps that you need to do to get to where you want to go.
Okay, your turn, and then tell us about the event.
All right. I would say, parents, get your kids playing music. Don't worry about the destination. worry about the experience. Eventually they'll be able to play and they'll be able to entertain themselves for the rest of their lives, and you as well. And if you want to see this in real life, come to the Musicians Rehearsal Center December 4th.
2022.
This year. This Sunday.
This Sunday, if you're listening.
At 5 o'clock, we're going to kick off the festivities. We're going to have some food trucks. We're going to have drinks. We're going to have pictures with Santa. And the Kid Rocker All-Stars will be performing.
It's going to be great.
A couple hours of songs for y'all and inspiring you. It's the most inspirational time of the year for me is these concerts. I tell you what, every time I do one, I love it.
And we love you. So it's About Town Deb. Together, we're one heart. And I'll see you next week.
This podcast was a production of Angel Fenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Fenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Fenix Productions or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.